Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem El-Shai, Bashem Kakadash, double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation to you, Akim, pushing this word in sincerity and truth. Your brother Yasad back at you with another lesson. We're going to edifying to the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem El-Shai. Well, and this one here going into, basically it's going into, Esau knows that his reign is on this side. That's why he is doing anything to remain in rulership, to remain, to remain, in power. And that's it. That is why when you listen to the WHO, the World Health Organization, or the WF, with the agendas they push is all this man's agenda, which he see in his eyesight that this would able to keep him, because we know according to the prophecies that this man kingdom is about to come to an end, as the scripture says. The triumphing of the wicked is but for a moment. Right? Concerning even in the time of Genesis, when Isaac spake unto him, the father spake unto them, telling them that they gonna have the dominion and whatnot, and then what? He mentioned that the younger going to rule over the older, which is futuristic, prophecy to come to pass when Jacob is going to take the victory through the coming back of Yahushua and Mashiach. Also, the vision with the image in the book of Daniel, where the stone which was cut out smote the image, because this year is the last of Esau's rule, until Jacob be established. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. And this year is a certain information concerning Project Looking Glass and whatnot, because he tapped in with his sorcery and whatnot to see what would happen if he'd be able to prevail, and what took place was it left them in terror.
Did you know the CIA developed technology that could actually see into the future, then destroyed it when they saw something terrifying? Project Looking Glass was a classified program that started in the 70s. Using quantum mechanics and electromagnetic field manipulation, researchers claimed they could observe probable future timelines with shocking accuracy. Declassified documents describe experiments where scientists would enter specially designed chambers surrounded by powerful electromagnetic coils. By altering consciousness through specific frequencies, they reportedly gained glimpses of potential future events. For decades, this technology guided military strategy and government decisions. But in 2012, something changed dramatically. Former project members claim all probable timelines suddenly converged on a single catastrophic outcome. The technology showed the same terrifying future event, no matter what variables they tested. Within months, the entire program was terminated and classified beyond top secret. Notice how global military strategies shifted around 2012. World governments may be operating with knowledge of a predetermined future they're powerless to prevent. The question is, what did they see? Did you know the CIA developed technology that could...
Yeah, and hey, we know what they would see is what? Their demise. They being out of rulership pursuant to the prophecy, because the Lord already made known unto his prophets what would be, the future to come. Isaiah the 46th chapter and the 10th verse, the Lord declaring for the end from the beginning, and he will do all his pleasures. Right? Because at the end of the day, it's Yahweh Bashem Yahushai movie. He's in control of everything. He's in control of what you're seeing happening to the four corners of the earth. Right now, where the kings of the earth, they're in war with each other, all this is the Lord's doing. And they cannot stop it because why? The scripture talk about he ruleth and king. Let's go into it. Daniel 4:17. It said this is by the decree of the watchers, right? Yeah, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know. So all that are alive, the inhabitants of the earth, they may know. What would they know? Right? That the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai ruleth in the kingdom of men and giveth it to whomsoever he will. Because it was already prophesied, in the book of Genesis. Genesis 27. Genesis 27 and verses 39. Start at 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing? My father blessed me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept, because Jacob had supplanted him the second time, where he took his blessing from him. But we know ultimately that was the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because Esau wasn't the chosen one. His lineage wasn't the chosen one to gain the kingdom of heaven. Right? So that's why that had happened like that. He even put it in the mind of Rebecca to even help Jacob, and to even defend him. Right? So yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I believe correct, right? So bear with me. Right. Yeah. Here is the account. Genesis 27:11. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I will see to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. So his mother helped him and made that food that he loved, where he could, pretend as Esau and gain the blessing. Let's say, verse 39, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. Right now, have you seen the so-called white man, in the hands of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics? Right now, you're seeing Trump, that cruel Lord. Hey, he deporting the Israelites, mainly the Israelites, Mexican, Colombians, that's we people as a down upon the face of the earth right now. We degenerate, we in a lower state, because they are in power right now. But according to the prophecies, that wouldn't last forever. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion. So when he's in rulership, thou shalt break his yoke from off his neck, or from off thy neck, because it's gonna be the time where Jacob would the dark ages, when Jacob ruled over them for approximately 1,000 years under the Byzantine Empire. That's how there's all these different history, and there's even coins and things showing you Jake ruled Europe and these places, right? But the time where they now in that rulership now, very soon, as the prophecies speaks, 2 Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. Right? Here, let me go up to verses 7. Right, 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? So Ezra was inquiring, because he seen the state of his people, and so he was eager to ask, Lord, when all of this thing going to end? When all this affliction of the Israelites is going to come to naught, to a stop, right? He said, what shall be the partner son of the time, or when shall be the end of the first? The first is Esau, and the beginning of it that followed. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau was born of him, Jacob held first the heel of Esau, because that was representing, spiritually, that, Jacob would be pulling down Esau's kingdom, right? Yeah, and that's what the prophets raised back up in these times to do, expose this man, the liar of the wicked and whatnot, because we pulling him down, as the scripture say, and the Lord gonna consume him with what the spirit of his mouth, which is the prophets, right? We back up into these times to expose all the wickedness that this man is doing and what he's about to do in the future. It say, for Esau is the end of the world. So, the so-called white man, this empire currently right now is the end. This is the last of his reign. Right? This is the last of his reign in this, the last of his rulership, his last empire. That is why it's called what? The revived Roman Empire. Yeah, or the Renaissance. He was rebirthed, he came back into power, but what? That is all for his end. That's for his end. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. So let's get here now. Job 20 and 5. I'll start at 4. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short? So, the rulership of the wicked. Who is the wicked? Esau, Edom, pursuing to Malachi 1 and 4. Right? Because just by his name, the nomen omen is that Esau, being wasted. Right? Which means wasted. The Lord laid his heritage waste. 1 and 1, Malachi 1 and 1, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I've loved you, said the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, said the Lord? Yet I love Jacob. So this is to show you the characteristics of the Lord. You know, he hate and he love. Because this is the Lord saying that he hate Esau. Why he hate Esau? The Lord know try his reins. He know deep down in his mind what he's about. The Lord created him. Right? Going back into Romans the 9th chapter. Create vessel unto honor and vessel unto dishonor. And Esau was one of that vessel of dishonor. Hey, the seed of the wicked, and hey, he's gonna be put out. Let's see. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. And that's gonna be his future. When he's about to be destroyed, his capital city, America, Babylon, is gonna be blown with thermonuclear fire. And certain parts of his habitat, where he dwell, will be blown up. Nukes gonna be sent there. Because the will of the Lord. Whereas Islam said we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. So to come back to the Renaissance now, to stay in that rulership, and how he's planning to do that is with the AI, the full digital system, the total control, because that's his God complex, because he know that his reign is on this side, and he know that he have no rulership in the kingdom to come. He's gonna remain as a man servant, a maid servant, and that's all until he be destroyed. So since he know his utter end, he's trying his best in this side to keep in rulership, and that's why I seen him coming down, to run that digital system, pull everything in one world order, a total reset. All of that is his plan. I have a little bit on it here from the UN agenda 2030. One world government. Reason why you're seeing all of this happening, Revelation 12 and 12, and woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is coming down unto you having great wrath. So all these wars and things you're seeing taking place, just as World War I, World War II, was for his certain achievements that he wanted get done. So we know this here is just a great movie he's about to be making to what? To step close into his enterprise, because the Lord said as he's about to fully belly. So all of this staging and stepping stone is just for him to set up his plan. Other world dominance, everything being controlled, digitally monitored, One world government, one global control, cashless currency, everything gonna be tracked. You spend 10 cents at Dolly's supermarket, they're gonna know. One global central bank, one global military, the end of national sovereignty. That is why they go in and having wars with these nations that not under the central bank. And these things, look, for instance, Venezuela, which is high in, they have a lot of natural resources, the oil and whatnot. So they're targeting these certain areas for the empire. Like Iran being targeted, The end of national sovereignty, end of all private owned property, except some elites. So this not gonna be for them. It would be just for the people and everyone else. The end of the family unit, the depopulation, control of population growth and density. That's why the scriptures say, Revelation 6 and 6, behold, a pale horse, he came over to to take peace from the earth. You know? Yeah, and that's what this man is about. Control of population growth and density and less mandatory vaccines, because this is through the vaccine is another way how to control the population. Bill Gates mentioned it many times. Let's say universal basic income, microchip society for trade, travel, tracking and control. Yeah, so anytime you violate or break code or speak against them, hey, they could shut you down. Implementation of your world social credit system, Internet of Things, everything hooked to 5G monitoring, government raised children. So yeah, they're gonna be able to feed you with lies and you won't know anything. Government own and control schools, education, and private transportation, no more owning cars, etc. All businesses owned by government, corporations, restriction of non-essential air travel, settlement zone, concentrations of humans in cities only. All of this here is just that boxing you in and closing you in as this feels livestock. End of private farm livestock and irrigation, because they want to be in control. Where are you planting your own food? We want to feed you our GMO. We want to feed you our plastics and all these things to keep your lifespan low. Hey, and who knows, in that time a man mightn't even live to see 40 years. What will they plan? It's a restricted land use, end of single family homes, ban of natural non-synthetic drugs and medicine. So no more, fever grass and ginger and all of these things here. No more natural, medicine. It's their drugs alone you being pumped with. Yeah, and look at it, World Economic Forum, you will own nothing and be happy. Yeah, that's his God complex. That way he wants. That is the only way he's gonna be able to survive. If he's thinking that he's gonna make that breakthrough, but the Lord is not gonna allow it. 2 Thessalonians 2:4. It speaks of it. You wanna sit in the temple as God. 2 Thessalonians 2:4, who opposed and exalted himself above all that is called God. That is why they can mention that they don't need the God of the Bible anymore and these sorts of things.
First time in history, but some governments and corporations for the first time in history have the power to basically hack human beings. There is a lot of talk about hacking computers, hacking smartphones, hacking bank accounts, but the big story of our era is the ability to hack human beings. And by this I mean that if you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible. And in such a situation, the old democratic system stopped functioning. We need to reinvent democracy for this new era in which humans are now hackable animals. The whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. We need to come to terms with the fact that, this is where philosophy meets computer science and biology. But some governments and corporations for the first time in history have the power to basically hack human beings. There is a lot of talk about hacking.
Yeah, and hey, that's really what his system going along into, that microchipping. You connecting that microchip to your brain, to the 5G, the Internet of Things. And he mentioned it, for you to be hackable, because that is something that he wants. He called him, he opposed everything that is called God. You know, he pop himself as he is our God. And another way he planned to do that for him to be the ultimate God is when with that microchip and that this, as you mentioned, to be able to hack humans, allow them to do anything you want them to do. And that is what you want. He thinks that when the Lord come back, he have everybody microchip up and under his control, that the Lord wouldn't bother come back because he gets everyone under his control and he would last in rulership forever. But it's not so.
Is to be able to observe reality as it is. To really what is the truth about myself and about the world, without running away to all kinds of fantasies and stories and fictions. And I think if you can observe to some degree reality as it is, you won't just be a much better person, but you will probably be a much more peaceful and happy person, because the deep source of so much of our personal and collective problems, AI, that could be a reality. Now we are much better than the God of the Bible. Don't have to wait for the second coming of Christ in order to solve it. A couple of geeks in the laboratory can do it. I mean, even if you believe in the Bible, the only thing the God of the Bible managed to create is organic beings. AI can create new ideas, can even write a new Bible. Think about a religion whose holy book is written by an AI. That could be a reality in a few years. I have friends who are now working on building religious AIs that are meant to...
Yeah, and hey, see this, they are a lot of atheists, as the scriptures say, they believe in science, all sorts of foolishness, But hey, this man and his God complex, he's gonna come down. Let's say, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And that is it, he tell himself that, what is his technology and the system that he's gonna implement is that he's gonna be in that total control, but hey, the Lord is gonna come in and cut that. Jump into verse 7, for the mystery that already work. Only he will let until he be taken out of the way. So the Lord only allowing you to advance in the technology, accomplish all of these things and whatnot, until you're ready to take you out of the way. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. So when he come back, he's gonna take you out of rulership, and that thing gonna stop you. You couldn't kinda do nothing. Hey, you went through so many ways to try to find a solution, but none work. Says for me, it's a Project Looking Glass is a term that...
Project Looking Glass is a term that exists in two very different worlds, the world of classified conspiracy lore and the world of modern predictive AI. Depending on which one you follow, the answer to whether current rulers will rule forever changes significantly. 1. The lore. Project Looking Glass, the time machine. In the realm of whistleblowers, like Dan Burish, and deep web theories, Project Looking Glass refers to alleged reverse-engineered alien technology used to see into the future. The findings, the core legend, suggest that the device showed multiple timelines converging into a single, inevitable event, often associated with 2012 or a, quote, great shift. The end of control. Interestingly, the legend usually states that the current rulers, the elite, became terrified because the device showed that no matter what they did, they eventually lost control. The theory suggests that after a certain point, the timelines collapsed into a reality where the old power structures could no longer manipulate the public. The verdict: if you believe the lore, the rulers are actually fighting a losing battle against a future they already saw. 2. The reality, predictive Looking Glass, AI. In 2026, the real-world version of Looking Glass.
Yeah, and hey, the fighting a losing battle. The scriptures say, um he numbered your kingdom in the book of Job. You know? Job 14:5, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months out thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. And that's it. You know, the Lord set up a bound for you, and you're not going to be able to make that breakthrough. So I'll end off in this Job 20, right, and verses 20. Let's go to the point 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. So when you think you get everything accomplished, you know, you're setting up your world digital system, controlled by you, all these things, your microchipping, your cashless society, credit score system, all of these things. In the fullness of his insufficient in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall be upon him. Hey, those nukes gonna fly and bring it down. The Lord is gonna make his appearance. When he's about to fill his belly, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he's eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. So when those nukes fly and destroy your system, your kingdom set up, then the appearance of the Lord, hey, you're done. That's it. And just as the vision what you saw, whatever you saw in Project Looking Glass and whatnot is gonna come to pass. But the movie already written. You know, so first lesson was edifying, all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Till the next Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Shalom to you, brother.